Tonight on Business Live, expunging ghost names from government's payroll, national ID cards to be linked with the public sector payroll. We'll be hearing from the Vice President.
It is completed. The problem of ghost workers on government payroll, which has bedeviled our public finance system for many, many years, will become history.
Also ahead tonight, Ghana CEOs to push for a Digital Economy Act which will fast-track government's digitalization agenda. We'll tell you more from the launch of this year's CEO Summit. And also tonight, we get reaction to news of a doomsday timetable as the country battles a power crisis. We'll tell you what businesses rather fear. Thanks for being with us tonight. Details right after this break. Crude oil at $66 a barrel. Hard to imagine only a year ago we were in the negatives. Gold also holding steady, as you saw, and cocoa having some significant losses there. That is your update on the commodity market. Let's turn to tonight's stories. Ghost names on government's payroll will soon become a thing of the past. This is because the national identification card will be linked to the public sector payroll, and that will make it easier for all public sector workers to be tracked and identified. According to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, government is building a digital ecosystem in terms of provision of government services that will boost development. Now, he disclosed this at a virtual mobile technology for development conference organized by the Ghana Telecommunications Chamber.
We are also linking the national ID card with the database at the Controller and Accountant General's Department. This is where the government payroll is done. So you know that for many years we have been struggling with this problem of ghost workers on government payroll. Now this linkage should be complete in the next few months with the payroll, with the national ID card. And once that is completed, the problem of ghost workers on government payroll, which has bedeviled our public finance system for many years, will become history. That problem will no longer exist because every government worker will have a unique set of fingerprints, and ghosts will not have any fingerprints. So this is a major point that we are looking at now. So we did the national ID card, and we are linking the national ID card to the major databases, and this is going to solve a lot of problems and make the acquisition of passports, driver's licenses, and so on. These are all going to be linked. Work is going on with the passport office, with the driver's and vehicle licensing authority, and so on.
Well, the Vice President also announced the launch of the Fraud Control Dashboard initiative by the telecommunications industry in partnership with the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Police. This is expected to help reduce criminal activities within the mobile money space.
Because the soundness of a good digital ecosystem must guarantee all users reliability, security, confidentiality, and completeness of all transactions. I'm therefore pleased to announce the launch of the Fraud Control Dashboard Initiative by the industry and in partnership with the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Police. This platform will harmonize the individual fraud control mechanisms of mobile money operators to strengthen our national resolve in tackling and mitigating fraud on our networks. It will help in blocking SIM cards, mobile devices, and blacklist ID numbers that connect to any fraud or general crime-related cases in the country.
Meanwhile, all SIM cards will be re-registered again this year, according to Communications and Digitalization Minister Esther Osei-Kuffour. She also called for an open discussion with the telecom stakeholders to help address the reduction of government revenue from the industry.
The Cybersecurity Act 2020, Act 1038, was just enacted in December last year, and it establishes an authority to protect our critical information infrastructure, regulate cybersecurity activities, provide for interception, legal interception of communications, and develop the cybersecurity ecosystem of our country. We are in the process of operationalizing the Act. We will also be conducting SIM re-registration this year, a process which is long overdue, in view of the critical importance SIM-enabled devices have assumed as we increasingly utilize digital financial services. I must commend the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications for complementing the efforts of the National Communications Authority, which is establishing a central equipment identity management system by setting up the Fraud Control Dashboard to help eradicate fraud.
While still staying with the Financial Inclusion Forum organized by the Telecoms Chamber, the Bank of Ghana says it is re-strategizing with the introduction of new policies to contain the impact of COVID-19 on the monetary economy. Whilst exploring new business models to promote financial inclusion, the central bank is also facilitating modernization of indigenous financial services such as SUSU with digital tools. Here's First Deputy Governor Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afare.
While new business models are being explored to promote financial inclusion, the bank is also facilitating modernization of indigenous financial services such as SUSU with digital tools. It is for this reason that the bank issued a crowdfunding policy. The policy is expected to encourage clubs, associations, market women, and farmers to work with entities approved and licensed by the Bank of Ghana to provide refined SUSU services for our people without the need for much physical contact and with strong
All right, so we are told that activation of dormant wallets increased from an average of 71,984 per week before the COVID-19 policy measures by the central bank to a little above 81,000 per week. You're still watching Business Live. We'll stay with the digital side of things. The Ghana CEO Summit, which is a major gathering of chief executives and captains of industry, will be used to push for a Digital Economy Act this year. The growing pace of digital solutions introduced into the economy, according to the executive officer of the Ghana CEOs Network, makes the act necessary. Speaking to Joy Business after the launch of this year's event, NSD Graft Ejiri hinted such law will help facilitate government's digitalization agenda.
The CEO Summit over the years has influenced many policy measures to the benefit of the business community in Ghana. As this year's edition focuses on the digital economy, captains of industry will expect a sustainable policy drive that will respond to the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the chief executive of the CEOs Network, NSD Graft Ejiri, a Digital Economy Act will ensure that all digital interventions are aligned with the vision of the country.
Efforts that must be applauded and encouraged, but you mentioned it from Bank of Ghana, from NCA and all that, so that's not how it's supposed to. You're supposed to have an act that will really steer all these initiatives. Like I said earlier, when there's an act, it's a law. You know, I don't know social media laws in Ghana. I don't know, you know, but you have cybersecurity act, you have this, you have that, but we don't have a central digital economy act that will put all this together.
Speaking on interventions by the Bank of Ghana, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Maxwell Poku-Ofare, disclosed that the regulator has issued a 3-tier digital merchant account to facilitate acceptance of digital payments between small and medium enterprises and their customers.
To make it easier for businesses to receive and make online payments, some payment service providers licensed by the Bank of Ghana have been permitted to provide merchant acquiring and payment aggregation service for businesses. The solutions are designed and made available to businesses in a manner that does not impose high infrastructure costs and complex connectivity requirements. In furtherance of this, the Bank of Ghana has issued a 3-tier merchant digital account with proportionate onboarding requirements to guide financial service providers in meeting the peculiar needs of small and medium-scale enterprises. This policy change is expected to facilitate acceptance of digital payments by small and medium-sized enterprises so as to provide convenience to their customers and also expand the geographical reach of their businesses.
The theme for the summit, which is slated for May 17, is digital transformation, powering business and government research for a post-pandemic economic resilience.
Well, turning to Agric now, and some farmers in Ejura impacted by the 2020 drought are counting heartbreaking costs as a new farming season begins. 2019 National Best Youth Farmer Ayuba Jibrila, for instance, lost up to 1.5 million cedis to the drought. And some 300 female farmers are likely to be idle this season because their farmlands were also destroyed. JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
It is 10 a.m. at Ejura in the Ashanti region. The sun is already up and the weather seems a little bit dry as farmers gather. But there is no evidence of rain. 28-year-old Ayuba Jibrila is standing in the middle of his farm, eagerly awaiting the start of this year's farming season. There are about 30 farmers on the farm too, mostly those who were negatively impacted in the 2020 farming season. The unpredictable rainfall meant he just had to lose more, and he lost so much.
We lost all the money and our energies that we invested in the farm. And we were expecting a lot from the farm. We were expecting every acre, we were expecting 30 bags of maize. When I mean 30 bags, we have the maxi type and the mini bags. And if the maxi is being transferred into the mini, it means 90 mini bags per acre.
The 2019 National Best Youth Farmer was alarmed at the situation and now holds on to God. Ayuba has 500 acres of farmland, all under cultivation.
We didn't prepare for the weather, actually, because it is timing. Every year, that's the time that we farm, so we didn't prepare, but we prepared very well for the date. For the day that we normally do the planting. So it's the same day that we did the planting, which is different that we were depending on rainwater. So we knew different that if we plant at the right date, we'll get we'll get the good yield, and so we didn't prepare for the weather.
He also supports 700 farmers who work on 1,500 acres. But the 2020 drought that hit some parts of the country robbed Ayuba and his farmers millions of cedis. Ayuba says he invested about 1.5 million cedis.
So I lost everything. I was expecting a lot from the farm. I was expecting not less than 50,000 mini bags from the farm that I cultivated.
Pointing to the dried land on his farm, he says he cannot plan for this season without support.
It's very difficult for me to, initiate it because I don't have the capacity. and I don't have the resources to help the farmers. They are just knocking on my door. So I'll plead with the government and the society, whoever is wishing to invest in farming, that they should come to our aid.
33-year-old Nuruddin Abdurraouf says his maize dried up, leaving him hopeless. Nuruddin plans to leave his farmland behind for good.
120 cedi. Me do 5 acres. 500.
Like 40-year-old Mohammed Saidu, a number of farmers are considering abandoning their maize farms if help does not come.
5 acres. 5 acres, no.
I cultivated 5 acres in 2020, but I did not harvest anything from the farm because of the drought. The situation becomes even worse when 310 female farmers supported by Ayuba are likely to idle this season. For instance, Sambian Fusena may need to wait for a miracle to happen. Over the last 8 years, Fusena has worked on 4 acres of farmland. Like many rural farmers, Fusena is a born farmer who decided to follow her parents' footsteps, but the impact of the drought has left her in fear. This means that they have to look elsewhere for what is rather difficult for the female farmers.
1 acre bia menya 4 bags na miji ente 4 acres ni nyina meji 16 bags for treasure.
In 2019, I got 100 bags of maize from my 4-acre farmland. At the time, I sold a bag at 160 cedis. I used the money from the sale of the maize to buy plot and take good care of my family. 2020 was not good for me because of the bad weather.
Nti afiwe ewura 2020 munu ama ensuo na anto ankoye nti mantimi anya no emufa kura.
The farmers are calling for support to be able to farm this year. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Huge losses. You can imagine how demotivating that is for the farmers. Well, we'll still stay with Agri because stakeholders in that sector will be gathering in Accra to figure out how to solve challenges along the agriculture value chain. The Ghanaian Farmer Conference, slated for April 26, is in partnership with Joy Business and supported by the National Food Buffer Stock Company. Joining me is host and executive producer of the Ghanaian Farmer, a show that airs on Joy Prime. Enyunam Manye, great to have you on our program tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So, why the need for this conference?
Thank you very much once again. So, you want to agree with me that for many African countries, agriculture plays a significant role in the development of the economy. And from last year till now, we've seen a lot of challenges that farmers are facing. I was just watching the news and where farmers in Nigeria were complaining about drought and how it affected their farm. In a time like this, we are also thinking about food security, how much of food we can produce when the rain patterns are becoming unpredictable. So it has become very important and necessary that we have to bring together farmers and stakeholders in the industry to discuss what do we do. You know, a lot of the farmers also need irrigation at this moment when the rain patterns cannot be predicted. But you agree with me that smallholder farmers also cannot afford these irrigations on their farm. So meeting together with the stakeholders would give us or would afford us the opportunity to find ways and means to help the smallholder farmers. So the call for the Ghanaian Farmer Conference is in the right direction because we are at a point where if care is not taken, we might find ourselves wanting. And this is the time where from Eastern, Northern, Central Africa, they are all battling it out. Even the UK is also looking for, countries that can supply them with food. So I think that a moment like this is very necessary for us to gather and discuss the developmental challenges that are confronting the agriculture sector in Ghana and the way forward.
So, which stakeholders in the agri sector are attending?
Excellent. So one of the stakeholders which you just mentioned happened to be the buffer stock. We know that when it comes to keeping food for not just students, but also for other people, the buffer stock is in charge of that. So we want to know from their end what is happening, what is new with them, what are the challenges, what do they need government to, hear and come to their aid. We also have somebody, Dr. Befi. We have Dr. Befi from CSIR Crop Research Institute. When it comes to one of the means for a farmer to have a good harvest has to do with, the quality of seed that they will go and plant at the end of the day. So we have Dr. Befi representing the CSIR. I don't know if you know about the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Pool. For many years, 10 years, they have been in existence, but about close to 80% of farmers, especially with the smallholder farmers, know nothing about them. So I met with the general manager recently to find out more about this institution, how they can help farmers in times like this. These are some of the things they come to cover, the claims cover, drought, pest infestation, and all that. Flood. Recently, I got a call from Koforidua, a smallholder farmer who was crying to me about how flood, destroyed his 2-acre farm. And I am sure if he knew about this company, he would have run to them to insure his company. So he would be attending. We also have Dr. Charles Naba, who is a farmer and member of the Peasant Farmers Association. He would be there to also share a word or two. So we have the Ghana Commodity Exchange CEO. She would also be there, and a lot more people
and that's
will be
very
there
rich.
for us to deliberate on the way forward and development of Ghana's agriculture sector.
I just have barely a minute with you. Tell us what impact you hope to make at the end of the conference.
So the impact is just to ensure that this will not be just one of the conferences that bring people together to just talk, and at the end of the day, nothing happens. We hope that these stakeholders coming together with farmers would bring about a redefining movement in Ghana's agricultural space. We hope they hit the core of farmers. We hope that whatever they are coming to promise those farmers, it will be done so that by the end of this year or by the end of the harvest season, somewhere around May, June, farmers will smile. They will not be frowning their face. They will not be crying, because it is time for farmers to also, at every harvest season, do something, better at the end of the day. So I want to say a big thank you to Joy Business for coming on board to support us put this conference together.
And Manya, host of the Ghanaian Farmer, I'm sure we'll be talking a bit more as the days go by. 26th of April at the Coconut Grove Regency Hotel.
Exactly.
At 9 a.m.
Exactly.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right. You sure may have heard about news of a timetable for Doomsaw between May 10 and May 17 as the country tries to tackle the power situation. We've got reaction from President of the Ghana Hotels Association, Edward Akanyamika Jr., who says the power cuts for 1 week is manageable. What they dread is the anticipated increase in utility tariffs.
They plan the increase in the utilities for electricity. I don't know about water yet, but that will certainly affect our business, because even now we are complaining of the tariffs. And so if it's going to be increased, then we are going to have further challenges, because even though business is picking up slowly and gradually, we are still not at that point where we can say that we are out of the woods, would be able to manage further increase in the cost of our operations. So I am just praying that that planned increment will be thought through very well with regards to the business empowerment that we find ourselves in, also when some taxes have been increased.
And to conclude tonight, a summary of international business news. My name is Daryl Kwao. That's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching.